morning, everybody. Standing behind me is 23 tons of gravel that we're going to have to move, and I'll show you where we're going to take it. We have a limestone fines and 3/4 crusher or 3/4 minus base course, and we need to do that for the horse corral because we just recently had about a 4 or 5 day rain event, and that thing was a sloppy mess, and that's not really great for the horse. Those of you that have horses may understand why that is. Also, it's kind of on a slope and it's slippery in there, plus it's just a nightmare to try and clean and pick up. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give Zippy a good footing that will stay dry, that will pack pretty hard and not going to hurt his feet. It's going to be good for him, good for us, and hopefully it'll take care of that problem for the winter. We've got a big snowstorm coming in about a day and a half, and so we're going to try and hurry and get this done today before that happens. 23 tons with my little John Deere tractor. Should be interesting. This is why we're doing this, is because this area where we have our dry-in area for Zippy is basically, you know, South Dakota prairie hard pan, or clay, or what we call when it gets wet, snot. And so, you know, this area has some sand in it, some glacial rock, some clay, and unfortunately right where this is an area where it's not sandy or well draining soil. And so when it's wet, it gets really slippery and it's on a pitch. I don't really have any flat spots on this piece of property, and so this has to be the way it is. What we're also doing is we're going to put this material here underneath the gravel. This is a geotextile fabric, typically used for driveways or animal pens, and what this does is let the water go through, but it separates the muck from the gravel we're going to be putting in. Horses are tough on ground. They weigh a lot, and all that 1,200 pounds is focused on an area this big. So if we don't do this step, and this is an important step, once everything gets wet, then all this 23 tons of gravel that we're going to put down is going to get mixed in with the mud, and then eventually it's just going to be a mud hole again. So this is an important step. If you guys are doing anything like a driveway or graveling in a parking area or an animal pen or anything like that, and you want to make sure that it stays stable, doesn't get a lot of ruts or have more problems when you get a lot of moisture, this is an important step. Well guys, what do you think? It's a pretty big improvement, I would say. Man, it was a lot of work. 23 tons of material moved in here on top of that geotextile fabric. I mentioned that right at the beginning of the video, and I just want to stress that, you know, especially if you have subsoil like I have here, and I've only got that little John Deere tractor, and that's not the same as a skid steer loader, so you can't really scrape up all the organic material that's on the ground with, you know, a loader bucket on a tractor. It's just not going to happen. The blade probably could have, but I didn't really want to do that, quite frankly. And so the geotextile fabric that I used basically takes the give out of the ground for the most part. And so if you're going to do something like this, you might as well just spend a few $100 extra and get that fabric and do it right, because you'll thank yourself in the long run. Trust me, I've done it both ways, and if you got a big animal like this, once he starts trampling on this and everything gets soaking wet, pretty soon you got a gravel mud mix and you just wasted your time. So anyways, a lot of work, but I think it will pay off in the end, especially during wet weather and the winter to come. Old Zippy's got the nicest paddock in the Black Hills. But hey, you know, when you have a critter, you do your best to do the best you can for him. So anyways, I hope you liked it. It was just dirt work today, but it was a pretty interesting project and a pretty big project. And I hope you guys, you know, do something like this and improvements around your home and take a few tips that I did. We used that 3/4 crusher or 3/4 base course or 3/4 minus. Kind of depends on what part of the country you're in on what they call it. But we use that underneath to give a little grip to the fabric, and quite frankly as a filler, because the fines are kind of expensive, and so it kind of did double duty there. And hopefully, you know, these fines are limestone fines, and so there's lime dust in them, and as Zippy steps on it and walks on it and it gets wet, it'll pack hard, and this is going to get pretty hard. And so it's going to be easy to clean. He's not going to be slopping around in the mud. You know, he's not going to have hoof problems, all kinds of stuff. But we use that 3/4 minus underneath, and then we put this real fine material on the top. And you can see it's 1/8 inch fine material. And that's going to be just fine on his feet. So, big snowstorm coming in a couple of days. Sounds like it could be a doozer. So it's 80 degrees today, and I'm sweating. And tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at 8 inches of snow. Maybe I'll film it. We'll see. But always something interesting going on around here, that's for sure. So, anyways, like I said, hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I think this is a great project, and I'm thankful to get it done before wintertime. So next time we'll probably be working on the barn again, so we'll see you then.